Man, today we are talking about King Solomon, okay? So what we've been saying all semester is that your heart is a throne. And it's not if you worship something, it's what you worship. What do you put on the throne of your heart? Is it Jesus? Is it Lord? Is it Jesus is Lord? Or is it something or someone else? So today we're going to get into Solomon. If you guys don't know Solomon, man, we're going to be in 1 Kings 11, okay? So you can turn to 1 Kings 11, okay? If you got a Bible. If you don't have one, man, we got some Bibles for you. We can give them to you, okay? But Solomon here, if you guys don't know, is David's son. David is known in the Bible as the man after God's own heart. David, this is the David of David and Goliath. This is the David that took stones, threw them at lions and bears, and that he killed Goliath, right? And that this boy became a king, and this king became the man after God's own heart. Even though he might have messed up, and David did mess up, but David followed God with his whole heart, okay? So, David dies. Solomon takes the throne, okay? Solomon starts in this place as king where God is on his throne, okay? So much so that God shows up. See, Solomon builds the temple, this temple to God, that people could go and worship God, that they could meet with him, that they could experience him. And in this time of sacrifices, God shows up, right? God shows up to Samuel one night, and he says, hey, whatever, Solomon, you ask for, whatever you want, I will give it to you. God sees Solomon as a man that has placed God on his heart. And when we place God on his heart, God can trust us with the desires of our heart, right? So he says, what do you want? Solomon says this. And guess what? If this was me, if God came up to me one time and said, hey, Mike, what do you want? You know what I would be wanting? I'm wanting a boat, okay, you guys? I want a boat, and I want it to have a big wake because I want to go wakeboarding, okay? Man, and I want to have a good time. Maybe, and I want to pay off, not a little bit, but all of my student loans. Who here wants to pay off all your student loans? So God says, what will you give? I give you, hey, I want all my student loans paid off, and I want a house. You get a house, right? And a boat, okay. So this is what I'm thinking, right? This is what I want. But Solomon says something so much deeper and more profound. Maybe you've heard this story, but in the midst of this, Solomon says that he wants the wisdom to rule. Solomon asks for wisdom. He wants to be a great king. And because of this, God not only grants him wisdom, and he is known as the wisest man to ever live, but he gives him fame, he gives him wealth. And you see, bless you, and you see Israel go through this golden age with Solomon, okay? Solomon leads Israel from David. David's like the conquering king. He's going out, he's going to war, he's taking over people that are expanding. Solomon brings in peace. Solomon brings in prosperity. Solomon brings in growth and renown as a nation. Israel is not just a nation, this little tribe or a couple tribes, 12 tribes, but now they are a nation and people know about them. People start coming from all around to see Israel, to see this nation, and to talk and speak to Solomon. Solomon has God on his heart. And Solomon's changing the world, and people know God through him. Solomon started his rule incredibly. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, but man, we don't just want to start incredibly. We don't want to have God on our throne in the beginning, but we want to have God on the throne till the end. Solomon, through his life, starts to not have God be on the throne, even with all of his wisdom, okay? So, Kings. Where's my Bible? Oh, it's right here. That's a good place for it. Okay, so Kings. King says this. 1 Kings 11, 1 through 6, we're going to read here. It says, King Solomon, however, loved many foreign women, besides Pharaoh's daughter, Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites. They were from nations about which the Lord had told the Israelites, you must not intermarry with them, because they will surely turn your hearts after their gods. Nevertheless, Solomon held fast to them in love. Solomon loved himself some foreign girls, okay? It's like, yeah, this is cute girls right here, right? And not only that, it goes on in verse 3 and it says, he had 700 wives. Bro, 700 wives, okay? I haven't seen The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but those guys can't hold a candle to the game that Solomon's got, okay? Man, guys got game, right? Okay, he had 700 wives of royal birth. So 700 princesses this guy's married, okay? And 300 concubines, and his wives led him astray. 1,000 women this guy is taking care of, okay? As Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God. Man, he took God off the throne. He followed the Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Molech, the detestable god of the Ammonites. So Solomon did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He did not follow the Lord completely. Man, there was parts of his heart, of his life, that God was not on the throne, as David, his father, had done. Solomon, 700 wives. Man, this is hard for us to fathom. Why did Solomon had 700 wives? I mean, like, you spend a day with one of them, right? And it takes like 2 years to like say hello to all of them, right? Like, this is a lot of work. So the reason that he had so many wives, like what they would do back in this day was they would have so many wives to seal treaties, right? They would seal treaties which would bring peace, which would bring security, which would grow the kingdom, right? So like Solomon here is in the golden age, right? He's bringing this about, but he's not always maybe doing it God's way. He's doing it through hundreds of wives, and God said, like, if you are to be king, don't have many wives because they will lead you astray. And Solomon's like, you know what? I got a better way, okay? And I got game. Too much. Okay. Also, it was a sign. It was a sign of prestige, right? As a king, this is kind of a cultural norm that they would have like a lot of wives and a lot of concubines. And it would like people would look at him like, man, this guy has it together. He's got the wealth to like have these women, right, and provide for their needs, right? So why does this? So like in our hearts, right, man, like we want to have like God on the heart, but man, things can lead our heart astray, right? So when it comes to us and like having relationships, right? So I'm like not down that like some of you probably aren't looking to have 700 wives, probably not 100, probably not even 2. Like, man, if I just had one, that'd be great, right? Okay, is anyone just looking for that one? We got some like, okay, I'm looking for the one. Okay, that's all I want. Okay, that's it, okay? You know? And but we too, just like Solomon, we can go about this the wrong way. And we can remove God from the throne of our heart when it comes to relationships, when it comes to dating. And what are those things? Like what like replaces God in those moments? And I think it's just 3 things and maybe more, but we're just going to talk about 3 things, okay? And it's one is the seal loneliness, right? So Solomon would seal treaties. Sometimes we try to seal loneliness with relationships to bring peace in our lives, right? Sometimes we want to feel significant or desired in someone else's lives. And we want security, right? So we place a relationship, the thought of someone or someone on the throne of our heart. Other times we just want to fit in. We want to be in that cultural norm, that mold where we feel there's not something wrong with us. But man, where we know we are loved. Do we replace God to be known, to be loved by others? Right? We can let dating, we can let relationships be a thing that completes us instead of letting God be the God that completes us. If God is not on the throne, we place other things, other people on the throne. We let others have greater significance in giving us love than God, and others will fail. Man, and others will take God's place on our heart, and we won't have anything else to give. Solomon went into these relationships to get things, to get trees, to get something, right? And we can do that too. We can go into relationships to get something. And but when God sits on the throne of our heart, even with relationships, okay, when we allow him to pour his love and his significance into us, it's without end. And then we can go into relationships, not letting them be on the throne, but giving more and more to others, right? And there's this reciprocal thing that happens in relationships, okay? So we need to talk about how to have better relationships, okay? So I need to talk about how to have better relationships. Okay, so relationships, we're not just talking about marriage, we're just talking about dating, but we're talking about relationships, okay? These all start from the same place, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about love tonight, okay? And here, what I'm going to do, okay, is we're not going to talk about like, you guys have heard sermons before. People tell you like, okay, this is love. This is the Greek definition of love, and here's 4 words for love, right? That's good stuff, right? But here's what I think. I think you guys know what love is, okay? So we are going to use your definition of love tonight. You guys ready for this? It's going to be a little bit of an interactive night tonight, okay? So you guys got to be ready to shout some stuff out, okay? We talk about love in so many ways, right? Like, I love to go hunting. I've been talking about it for weeks, okay? And I still have got nothing to show for it, okay? But I enjoy it. I love it, right? I just texted the guy today. We're supposed to go elk hunting, please, this week, okay? Man, I love burritos, okay? I don't care what they do to my gut. I don't care if it's Birdos. I don't care if it's Ella Heredera. But, man, I love myself some good burritos, okay? You guys love some burritos? Right? Yeah. We use love in all sorts of ways. I love my wife and my kids. Yeah, right? Yeah, I was like, hey, what's that? What? You got those, don't you, huh, Mike? Yeah, I do. It took a while, you guys. It took a while, okay? Man, we use love, this word love, as this emotion, this feeling, this more than like for so many things, okay? But what do we really mean by love? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw this big circle, okay? Oh, it almost connected even, okay? And here, there's this old geometric axiom that says the whole is equal to the sum of its parts, right? So what we're going to do is we know that there's different, like, things that go into a loving relationship, right? So I'm going to put this into many different pie pieces. It looks a little bit like a pizza now, right? And what we're going to say is if you're going to give one word for what a loving relationship looks like or will be, what is this, okay? So are you ready for the interactive portion? What does a loving relationship look like? Go for it. Just start shouting it out. Sacrificial. Communication. Forgiving. Okay, we got to slow down a little bit. Forgiveness. You guys are so good at this. Did we say I wrote communication? What was the other ones? Equality. Yes, equality. Equality. Patience. Encouragement. Okay, Jesus, we got the church boy over here. Good. Yeah, you just got out of Sunday school. Thank you. Humor. Yes, humor. All right. What else? Patient. Okay, we got patience. Very good. What else? Trust. We got trust. Oh, we don't got trust. That's a good one. Pixie dust? Pixie dust. All right. You guys, peace. Okay, peace. There's going to be peace. Okay. Friendship. I like it. Okay. Anything else? Faithful. Oh, yeah, we can't forget that one. That's awkward if not, right? 700 wives, okay? You guys, come on. We're in college here. Come on. Someone forgot a little something. Sex, right? Okay. Like it had to get out, right? The pastor had to say something about it, right? This is pretty good, okay? So what we're saying is like this is our definition of love, okay? And I'm going to put the cap on this before I write on myself, okay? Because it will happen, okay? And so when we talk about love in our culture, what we talk about, what we mean, what we're referring to is the emotion, is the feeling of love. Am I right? Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm right. Okay, thank you. Actually, I'm stealing this all from another pastor, so he's probably right. Just so you guys know. There we go. I just did, okay? All right. So, what we're saying is like the world says that like love is a feeling, but what I'm hearing you say is that love is a choice, okay? So let's go through this one by one and you tell me if this is a choice or if this is a feeling, okay? So let's start here. Sacrificial. Being sacrificial, is it a choice or is it a feeling? Choice. Communication. Forgiveness. Equality. Choice. Patience. Encouragement. Jesus. Humor. Choice. But also, like, it brings maybe some feelings, okay? So we'll go a slashy on that one, okay? Because, yeah, that is, right? Okay, trust. Choice, right? Peace. Friendship. Choice. Faithful. Choice, okay? Sex. Choice. If it's not a good feeling, you guys are doing it wrong. So what we're saying, you guys, is that love is a choice. And what we equate it to is a feeling. We equate it to a feeling every time. And we start with it from day one when we walk into college, right? We look across the way and we see someone and like, whew, they look good. How are you doing, right? Woo! Right? We go out, we say, hey, and then it starts, right? We have fun. We have humor. We laugh, right? We sit close to each other. We hold hands a little bit, right? And like it's a choice. But man, if it doesn't start like giving you a little bit of butterflies, you're maybe doing it wrong again, right? You know what I'm saying? And then it leaves, right? And then what we do in our culture, I'm not saying this is you guys, but we then go into sexual intimacy, right? This feeling, okay? And it gets into all sorts of issues, right? So we always talk about, when we talk about love, we talk about chemistry. We talk about how we fell into love. When we're together, we just love each other. It just feels so right. Right? Okay. And that's what our dating process looks like. So it's like not too much of a surprise when we hit trouble in our relationships. And when we hit trouble, what are the first things to go? Jesus? Maybe humor and laughing? Maybe intimacy, right? Those choices are the first things to go. So the things that brought you to this place, to this relationship, whether it be marriage or dating, are now gone. Our bedrock are gone. Okay? So what we need to do is start to change our verbiage. Because what you guys are telling me is that you cannot fall into love. We cannot fall into love because love is a choice. It's impossible to fall in love because it's a choice. You can't fall into love, but we continually fall into emotion. You guys tracking? So we fall into love. We make the choices. So if love is a choice, we have to make the right choices for a loving relationship. We have to start from a place of choosing the right things and not falling for this lie that love is an emotion. But love, we see over and over and over and over and over and over again, is a choice. Okay. This is good. This is good, isn't it? All right? Love is a choice. We cannot fall into love, but you can fall into emotion. So let's begin to start choosing, making the right choices of a loving relationships. So let's check this out. 1 Corinthians 13. Man, you guys have heard this, but this is what it says starting in verse 4. Love is patient. Love is kind. Choice, right? It does not envy. It does not boast. Choices. It is not proud. It does not dishonor. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. This is love. And we're not just talking, like we said, about marriage, but this is love that we have for friends, for employers, for better relationships, right? Our Creator, Jesus says, here is love. In all of these things, there is maybe one emotion. It says anger. It says do not get easily angered. Make the choice to not fall into this emotion. Okay? You can't fall out of love in your relationships because you never fell into love. You've simply chosen to stop loving someone. Love is a choice. Man, when we put our relationships on the throne, we begin to fall for the lie that love is just this emotion. Here's what I want from each and every one of you. I want each and every one of you here to have the best relationships, the longest lasting relationships. Man, relationships that are good and fulfilling, and where you can choose to show someone else love the way that God has called us to. I want to be there. Man, I want to be there at your marriage. I want to see you walk down the aisle. I want to see those choices that you have made to get to that place. You're just like, man, it was worth the choices again and again and again and again and again. When the choices of love are made, the heart will follow. When the mind is set on loving, the emotions of love will follow, no matter where it is. Okay? We can get into attraction, this and that later, but love is a choice. Ephesians 5:1 says this, "Follow God's example, therefore, as dearly loved children, and walk in the way of love. Just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God." We walk in love. We walk in love. We choose to love. We choose where we're going and where we're walking. We are making the choices of love. So we have to choose to let God be on the throne first and foremost. That is the first choice we get to make in having great and powerful and long-lasting relationships. And when we make that choice, God builds powerful bonds that keep us together as we continue to make these choices. You guys know what love is. Maybe some of you guys have seen people choose to not do some of these things. We want to see something greater in our lifetime. So you let God be on the throne today and not those relationships. When we let God there, we're going to see incredible relationships. Let me pray. Heavenly Father, man, we thank you for this evening, God, and that you want what is best for us, God. You want to see us have great and long-lasting relationships, Jesus. God, so we want to start making the choices of love today and right now, God, wherever we're at, God. And God, if we need to put the brakes on something to make those right choices, God, we just choose that. We choose you. God, wherever, yeah, we put you on that throne, Jesus. God, I pray that you would show us how to begin to make those choices time and time and time and time again, God. To see you become greater, God, so we can love others better. God, I pray for my friends that they would see just incredible relationships wherever they're at in their lives. Jesus, we pray this in your name. Amen.